What's happening? What's happening? It is that time. Sorry to keep you waiting. I know it's been a while, but we're here. How y'all doing? Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Smoke Drink Vibe Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Hughes. Today is a good day. History's going to be made again. Then we had history the last time one of my siblings was on here. And you know him as they called him Big LA while he was on here because he had an LA jersey on. He's not from LA. He's not from LA. Not at all. Not even close. But Chief Hughes was in the building. He did a good job and did such a good job that not only they requested him back, but they asked me if I had any other siblings that were equally as amazing as him. I do. I got one more. Amazing is not the word. This young lady, my younger sister, very talented, very amazing, multi-talented as far as poetry is concerned, has a lot of poems that are published nationally and internationally, currently working on a book. She's also a school teacher, working in elementary, working with the kids because she love the kids. And she has her own podcast show called Artie Streets. She founded with a good friend of ours, which we'll bring on a little bit later in the show. But without further ado, I'd like to bring to the stage my sister, Katurah Hughes. You may know her as The Voice. Let's welcome her to the stage, you guys. How we doing?
Hey. What's up, everybody? What's good, bro?
Hi, what's going on? This is another major moment right here.
Indeed. Our parents most definitely proud.
They would be proud. They would be very proud. Mom and dad would definitely be watching. I know they're watching now from heaven.
Yeah.
I know bro's about to tune in when he gets a chance. But how you doing?
I'm good. Sis got that fresh cut.
Yeah, you look gotta go.
Yeah, gotta keep the crown adjusted.
Got the shirt going. Got the curls popping.
Yeah. Gotta keep the crown adjusted. You know what I'm saying? You was gonna have me on the show, so I was like, I know bro gonna be tight. I gotta get tight too. So yeah.
Yeah, I did a little something. I ain't gonna lie. I started on and I was like, nah, I'm just gonna put this in a ponytail and I'm gonna just make sure this is slicked down and go for it. But
but I'm feeling the vibe and everything. I got a coffee cup, but it ain't coffee in the cup. You feel me?
It ain't coffee. It's normally never coffee in the cup. That's what y'all teachers don't tell people. If I had known that my teachers were drinking on the slide in the morning, I would have said something. But that's okay.
Well, they say do as I tell you, not as I do.
Not as I do, right? That's right. Yeah, them little kids don't know any better. We was teenagers when I understood what was in the cup.
Yeah.
They had them little shot glasses.
Nah, I really am super grateful though for you having me on the show. It's been a minute being on this side, Yeah, you're not used to being on that side technically. So nah, I forget that I'm an artist too. Yeah. Shout out to Dre. I know he's somewhere close by. Yeah. So we founded Artie Streets during COVID, like right at the brink of it in 2020, when it was really out in the open, hitting hard, epidemic style, right? But we were on lockdown, and so people couldn't go anywhere. We were quarantined, right? Got to keep that 6 feet apart distance, and so social media was at its peak as far as finding things to get into, just to keep the mental, sane and keep your head on the swivel, and just to still stay relevant. So when you think about artists and how they became who they are, a lot of it came out of word of mouth. Let me see your mixtape. Let me see, what you're working on, what project you got going, and, selling CDs or approaching people in the store or out the back of your trunk. Literally the artists were in the streets. And so that kind of took a back burner because we had to be inside. So how are you self-promoting now? Well, you got to know how to utilize all platforms. And so we created a platform called Artie Streets for the artists, with the artists in mind, that, with this space, it's more than just
your next door neighbor or people from your hood, from your block, or your same circle of friends, people used to kick with, people used to go to school with. This is the world right here at your fingertips. If you log in and tune in, now everybody hear you, and so we just kind of took off. We were blessed. People from Malaysia, the UK, like tuned in, and the time frames were crazy, right? It's like 7 p.m. time, 2 a.m. their time, like, but they were eager to know who these people are. And so it was just a great opportunity for us to really build. We had no intention of being a platform to be all the way 100 with you, but there was a need, and we didn't realize we were meeting the need when we created it. So
I think we get that from our dad, because our dad was always working with the up and coming gospel artists when he was doing his promotions. When I did my online radio show around the same time, and before then, I was doing up and coming new artists, unsigned hype, things like that. And I think that's just our knack of what we do as Hugheses. Of course, our brother has managed up and coming artists in the gospel realm. So I think it was just something that came naturally to you, would you say?
Most definitely. I'm glad you brought him up. So just to show you how God works and timing, or the timeline of alignment of things. So Dad and I, he used to be a writer for the Gospel USA magazine. And of course, I was the one doing the typing for him. Well, the insert that we did was called The Close-Up, and it was interviews with the up and coming gospel artists. Lo and behold, years later, 2020, when we find Artist Streets, we started our podcast called Heard Interviews, which gave you a close-up with who this person is that is just your neighbor, your coworker, your church member. But now we're showing you in a different light. No, they're also an artist. They're also a published author. They're also a storyteller or a rap artist or a singer. And so I just was like, wow, like Dad was slick grooming me for a talent that was already in me. And now I'm doing the same thing. Yeah.
You find yourself in positions with Artist Streets that had opened you up to some individuals that you never thought you'd come across. Give me an example of one of your most memorable interviews.
So I definitely would say one of my most memorable interviews was with Stephanie Luckett. Stephanie Luckett is a phenomenal artist. She's a singer, R&B blues queen is kind of like her genre. But when she came to us, she had already had best-selling album. Like, it had already crossed over overseas. It was number 4 overseas. And I just didn't even think she had the time of day to interview with us. And it was a virtual interview at that. Because she was already on tour when she had agreed to interview with us. But the outpour of love that she had, the mad respect that she had, I didn't even know that she was keeping tabs on Artist Streets and everything that we were doing. She was so elated to do the interview. And from her interviewing with us, channeled so many other networking opportunities for Artist Streets' name to even be out there because of the connects that she had as an artist, being on tour and everything like that. And so she had like viewers where she was supposed to be performing at that night watching us. So people who had never heard of us in other states now had new followers for Artist Streets. So it was just a blessing. And we were grateful for it because she didn't have to do it. When you get to a certain place in your life, you don't do it unless there's money attached to it. And so for us, the real pay was that she was willing to do it and saw how beneficial it would be to do it virtually, while she's on tour. Like, I'm performing, I'm doing shows, but I'm also doing this interview right here with Artist Streets. Like, it just all aligned. And from her, we ended up also interviewing Tiger, the great saxophonist who also used to be a part of her band. And then he went solo. He had a solo project that had just dropped, and nobody had featured him yet. Nobody had covered it. He released it on his own, and now he was playing full time on a cruise line. Like, it was so big. Like, we got to see the inside of like his job on the ship and everything. Really nice. Shout out to Carnival Royale. But it was really dope because that was something that he never saw himself doing. And someone in the audience at a show that he was performing at locally in Jackson worked for the cruise line and referred him. So it was just, again, come back full circle. Like, you never know who's in earshot of whatever you're doing, or you never know who you're talking to when you're talking to a person, right? Everybody does something, or everybody knows somebody, kind of thing. And so we were just really grateful, because interviewing her allowed us an opportunity to interview with him.
Right. Yeah, you find that again, you never know who you're talking to, and then you never know who wants to support the new stuff coming up. I've met some people, and I plan on interviewing even more people outside of that. I got some radio hosts that are looking to interview and giving me the time of day to interview when I know that, they're super busy with all over the city of Houston. But it's definitely something when you can interview some people and talk to some people that just have that kind of thing going on for themselves.
Yeah. Even Mike Ginn, like he was one of the first people we met at the very beginning of Artistries, all because I participated in one of his virtual competitions that he had on Clubhouse, when Clubhouse was on and popping, which it still is, by the way. And from there, he allowed me, once I came on, tell him what you do, tell him who you are. Artistries is on and popping right now. They running the game as far as poetry. Killing it. If you're an artist or an upcoming artist, you're interested in, getting connected, you need to be connected to Cat Hughes, Andre Bilal, and Artistries. And then here we are, fast forward, just last year, we interviewed him as our featured guest on the show, Heard Interviews, and then turn around, and in February, he brought me to Texas, and I performed at the 100 Black Women's Coalition Gala as a featured poet.
Yeah. It's that 100 Black Women's was that I heard that was off the chain.
It was. I mean, I had never in my life seen so many people in one place just to listen to poetry. Like, we get hype off of, open mic night, right? But to be in a place where people intentionally have bought like high-end tickets, we talking about $75 per ticket or more. Yeah. They dress to impress. Like, we got hors d'oeuvres being served. Got a live painter. Yeah, right. Got a live painter, got live music, got models. They did a whole modeling show, and then here come the poets. And to be selected, because he could have chose anybody. I mean, Mike is that dude. He could have chose anybody in his state, but he reached out to me all the way in Mississippi and flew me there for that.
Yeah, that's something special. So what poem did you perform there at that time?
At that time, I did a new piece. It's called Writer. And it's pretty dope. I can share it with you.
Okay, go ahead.
They call me a poet, but I say I'm just a writer. Well, not just a writer, but you got the right her. I am the epitome of all that I was and have yet to be. I'm becoming. Yes, constantly growing and ever knowing that it's in my best interest to be about my Father's business, because he knows the plans that he has for me. So I don't mind the dirt on my name, because I am the seed planted. Allowing myself to be deeply rooted in my gifts, I searched for my reflection in the mirror, but found his image. Fearfully and wonderfully made, yet still a mess. But when I surrendered all to Christ, my setbacks became wins, blessed. But not without any stress, because like you, I get tempted, and sometimes I feel pressed. Yet in him, there's grace extended, so I pass tests. Of course, Satan gonna try me, because I got a calling on my life. That's why I won't settle for the friends with benefits hype, because I've evolved into the Proverbs 31 prototype wife.
Church.
Yes, weapons still may form, but they'll never prosper. And even when I fall short of his glory, it doesn't change who I am, daughter. No need to physically fight. This is a spiritual thing. So I learned to slay giants from my knees, praying. Friends may leave, but grace and mercy follow me. So I encourage myself and choose to believe that better days are coming. Let go of the doubts and step into my calling, so I can see myself there before my timing. Call it faith walking. Now I meditate from a place of gratitude, adjusting my crown as many times as it takes just to soften my attitude. And because I understood the assignment, I know it all works together for my good. Call it divine alignment. When my own strength is failing, I know that God's is still prevailing. So I lean not into my own understanding, but cling to his word that says, touch not my anointed and do my servant no harm. I can rest on his promises without ever needing to see his plans, because I trust God's heart even when I can't see his hands.
There it is.
There it is. That's an exclusive right there.
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Now, speaking of poems, tell me about some of the poems that you had published and what was that process like for you?
Oh man. So unbeknownst to a lot of people, I am a published author. People think that that's only if
you said it was beautiful. Look at that.
Thank you. Yeah. People think that that's only credited to you if you have your own book, but that's not true. You could be a published author when you submit anything that becomes publicated. Yeah. So if you technically, all of us are published authors because we are keeping a live log every time we post a status on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I had the opportunity to work with some poets from all over. A friend of mine, Angela Thomas, she interviewed me on her show, her podcast, and it's called Aspiring Authors. And she was putting together an anthology, and it's called Footprints in the Sand, Legacy, a Timeless Legacy. And it was poets, over 30 poets. And she asked us, to submit our best pieces or create new pieces. She had different categories that we could speak to, write to. But it was a coming together of the collective. And it'll be dropping out, releasing next month in September.
There it is.
Yeah. And so that process was surreal to me because trying to find the time between work and, being creative. And people too kind of struggle with that as artists. It's like, I need to be at my 9 to 5, but this is the dream, right? As they say, like the dream is free, but the grind is not.
No.
And so finding that balance so that you're not just putting out anything, because people are empowered by your words, right? Words move the people. And so being able to submit like 6 different poems in that book really was like, pat on back, kudos to me, because I could have just chose the easy route, been one and done, because that's all I really got time for. But I put intentionality into it and submitted it, and some beautiful pieces really came out of it.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it. Of course, what my favorite one is, but we'll save that for later. Tell me about the first piece that you had published. And what was that process like for anybody who may want to publish some works? You had a couple of pieces published, and then we'll talk about the competitions that you've been in.
Yeah. So one of the pieces that I had published in there is called River. And it's short and sweet, and that's a curve that I had to add into my writing journey. We all know as artists, like Erykah Badu used to say, we sensitive about our shit. And you can be your worst critic, and so it becomes this thing of like, it's not good enough, it's not long enough, it's not, you find everything wrong with it instead of just allowing it to be in flow, right? It's good, it's great, it's done. Yeah. And so River is a self-reflection piece. And I spelled it R-I-V, her. Same way with the piece I just shared a moment ago called Writer. I spelled it W-R-I-T, her. So I was on a journey of self-discovery. Still am. It's a continuum. Because I do believe that in this life, every aspect of your life is cultivated. Meaning it's being built up, it's evolving, it's changing, and as you live, you grow. And so every level or next level is going to require a different version of you, right? A more disciplined you, a more dedicated you, a more committed you, a more enthusiastic you, right? We're not just going through the motions, we actually live in life, we're not just existing. And so I had to insert her who I aspire to be, and not her who I've been, right? Or her as I am, while still becoming and having grace for myself as I become. And so being on that journey looked a little different. I've been in therapy since January doing counseling. I have been working out, yoga, meditation, and Zumba. I've changed my diet. I'm finding more time for self-care, to journal, to go sit out by the water, like at the reservoir. Kite flying is a must because that's my shit. And going to the gun range, like doing things that allow me to be as I am, right? We get so caught up in the titles of who we are to other people that we forget to be just her. So that is the synopsis behind this poem, River. But it says, past the hillside of hurt and around the bend of exhaustion, there are my tears still flowing for her, the woman that I was before I met you.
Right.
These waters are the streams of her dreams delayed that felt denied, running wild with potential, but naturally flowing somewhere beyond her comfort zone, reluctantly trusting the process because it's taking too long. And even after being jaded by love and all its antics, she had the nerve to love herself fiercely, as though she had never been hurt, as though she had never been betrayed, as though she had never been broken. She loved herself, and her heart remembered wholeness. Yeah.
Right. There it is, another one. Y'all getting some good gems in here. I don't know if y'all ready for that kind of stuff. Eh? You gotta take it a little bit slow, a little bit. But that's definitely dope. What kind of explain your writing process? How your writing process comes about based on whether you're in competition or whether you're submitting something for publication. What's the writing process like?
Yeah, so for me, it's just based off experience. A lot of my poems have reality, like it's from a real place, a real space in my life. I'm writing from something I actually went through or witnessed somebody else go through. But most of it is my own truth. And being able to articulate it empowers me to say that I was there, but now I'm here, right? That I grew through some things instead of just going through some things. Now I grew through that because there was a blessing in the lesson. And I give myself gratitude for that. Gratitude for who I was then, gratitude for who I am now, and gratitude for who I'm becoming. And much respect. There's no shame in what it was then because I know better now, right? Gratitude for the person who was assigned to me to be a part of that lesson. Yeah. And so I didn't always have that perspective, but I realized that there's somebody out there. So like I was telling my homegirl the other day, I was like, I used to be the type of person to be like trying to get there, always in a hurry. And some experiences have allowed me to slow down and just be in the moment, because the reality of it is, while I'm steady trying to get there, because that's a goal for me, standing where I am is a get there for somebody else looking at me.
Right.
I'm gonna run that back. Yeah. So I'm already focused on a goal as a get there for me, but standing where I am is a get there for somebody looking at me. Like, sis, if you didn't know, you are a goal. Somebody watching, somebody clocking. Sir, if you didn't know, you are a goal. Somebody watching, somebody clocking. And while they may not know the struggles that come with being you, right, as you are and where you are in your life, they don't know the sleepless nights. They don't know the struggles, but they see the glow. They see the come up. They see you. And that's what makes you a goal. So be grateful for the space that you're in, with the understanding that you won't always be in that space.
As somebody, I just saw something earlier, and one motivational speaker said, don't pray for my success, pray for my hunger, pray for my struggle, pray for having the same come up path and journey that made me who I am. Pray that you have that same thing if you want my results. Right. And so that definitely speaks amazing wonders. Look, you got fans. Sierra says that one was a mic drop and it spoke to me. That's how it go.
Yeah, my friend girl, I run like all my poems by her just about, and she was like, Kat, that last line, girl, the nerve to love herself, and fiercely she loved herself and her heart remembered wholeness. Because we've always had this misconception that other people make you happy. When in actuality, even on your podcast, you've said, no, people are supposed to add to your happiness.
That's right.
They don't make you happy. They add to your happiness. So when two people call themselves being involved or in partnership, it was a attraction, right? I saw you in all your glory and I liked what I saw, and that's what attracted me to you. But understand, you were alone, right? It wasn't my idea of me with you. It was you as you are, you yourself, that attracted me to you. But the problem is when people get together, they stop doing you.
Right.
And you is the first letter of us on preaching and teaching. Let me slow up. You stop doing you now that you with me. But in order for us to do us, I need you to keep doing you, if that makes sense. I need you to keep pouring into yourself as a woman. I need you to keep your workout regimen, diet, whatever it is you do. I need you to have your girls' night and get from up under me and go be with your friends. I need you to check in on your peoples and your families so that you don't feel pulled over here and pulled over there. Yeah, keep doing you. Because when I met you, that's what attracted me to you. But now we together and you like, what do you do for me? Get my nails done, hair done. Yeah. And you got brothers looking at the girls like, woman, you was doing that before I met you. Like, your nails was together when I met you. Hair was done, everything done. Now you want me to do it. But nah, I got things I need to do as a man to maintain myself as a man, right? So that, so when people come together, it should be to add and share in one another's happiness. Mm-hmm. Nobody makes you happy. They add to your happiness. And so if I'm happy and you happy together, that's happiness, right? Because we both got things that we got going for ourselves. We can support that. Anything that you got going, that person that calls himself being involved with you should complement that.
Right.
Yeah.
A good friend of ours, Miss April Autumn, my wife, says, you better preach. You better say that. That's right.
But we be doing that X-Men shape shifting shit. We be dimming our light and changing up who we are because we like to show people who we think they want to see so that we can still be together.
Yeah.
That ain't it.
So speaking of, tell me about, I know of course, this is going to sound retarded coming from me, but we grew up together. We share, we have the same parents. We grew up in the same household. But once we got from that household, our journeys and path became a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So tell me about the process into which you came into the poetry atmosphere, because you probably didn't know. I know you had, I don't know if you remember this, but you had a show or a gathering of the minds online, and you had DJ Reese Ree that time.
Yeah, that was my birthday. I did my birthday, 34 and smoking. Yeah.
And so DJ Reese Ree was there, and he's online, and you're online, and then I show up, and he's like, "Wait a minute,
that's your brother."
That's your brother. I know him, and then you like, "How you know him?" And I was like, "This I've been trying to tell you.
Yeah,
I've been in these streets for the music game, as far as Jackson is concerned, for the longest."
And then you spit a whole poem, and
that was a verse. That was a verse, and that was, matter of fact, DJ Reese Reese said, "I still got the first song you ever done for me." Wow. And so the backstory real quickly behind that was I was at Hines and Raymond, and I had met a mutual friend of his. Well, he wasn't my friend, but I met one of his friends and named E. He has a barbecue pit now, mobile barbecue shop. I think it's on 80. And so E was like, "You rap?" I was like, "Yeah." So we battled outside of Hines and Jackson. I'm sorry, not Raymond, Jackson. And so we battled.
Bro, you talking about Eddie?
Yeah, Eddie.
Eddie's I know him. Yeah.
Right. So
Eddie, right. Yeah.
So Eddie was ahead of a record label called, I forgot what it was called at the time, but he had his record label right over there by the zoo, Jackson Zoo, Dead in the Hood.
Yeah.
And so he was like, "Come over to the shop, come check us out." Now, Eddie was on this looking at me like I'm another artist who he can charge for studio time.
Yeah.
So I came in there and I met DJ Reese Reed.
he was in the process of recording his mixtape called Mixtape Murderers 2.0.
Yep.
And
yep.
so he was like, "You rap?" I was like, "Yeah." And so he put on the Eminem beat, actually the Eminem beat that Jay-Z did, which was called Moment of Clarity. And so he was like, "You got something to this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was just writing to that 4 days ago." And so he goes, "All right, let me hear it." And so I gave him that exact same verse that he played.
Yeah.
He looked at me, he goes, "Get in the booth and do it again." And I was like, "Say less." And that was my time. And so he put me on the mixtape. Now, he didn't want me on the mixtape because I wasn't part of the crew.
Right.
But Reese was like, "No, this guy is dope. I want him on my mixtape. I want to mess with him long term. He dope. We didn't have a lot of people come through here. J Mon is dope." He never could pronounce my name. He called me J Mon. So I go, "Okay, cool." So I met Cage through Reese. And so Cage was the prodigy. And so Cage was like, "You rap?" I was like, "Yeah." Then he heard my song with Reese and he was like, "Give me another verse. Give me something else." And so I gave him some and he was like, "Yeah, we mess with you." So he was like, I'm now out of 4 guys. It was Reese, E, Cage, and Fontaine. Out of 4 guys, I'm batting 2 already. So they was like, "Come meet Fontaine." So Fontaine, he lived in the Delta. He would come in to Jackson every now and again. Met Fontaine. He said, "Man, I heard that track you did for Reese Reed, man. That was dope." He said, "What you think about doing this, and that?" And he was like, "No, I don't think we need to bring him in." And so there was a whole distortion because E did not want me in that crew.
Yeah.
He didn't want me in the crew. And then I end up meeting a guy named Elite, a Chicago rapper called Elite the Omen. Shout out to Elite the Omen. One of my favorite artists in Jackson, besides JT Ali and Tricky LT45. I think those are my top 3 artists in Jackson, Mississippi for me. And Kenny, the new guy. I forgot. I can't remember his name. But anyway, so Fontaine was like, "Oh yeah, we messing with you. We gonna do what we gonna do." And Fontaine and E had a falling out because Fontaine was adding 2 more people.
Yeah.
So we did our thing and then we fell off. But by the time we met, by the time you came back around and you had your birthday and you did the thing, I got on. He was like, "Man, that's your brother." And you was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, I still got that song, that first track you did for me." I said, "You ain't got that shit." And
yeah, nostalgia moment for sure.
And he pressed play, and your eyes got bucked because you was like, "I didn't know you was that good." Yeah. In his prime, and still right. So and to be honest, our older brother who just happened to show up. What up, siblings?
Hey, bro.
Hughes, the Dallas Hugheses. He actually was rapping back in the day with Paul. I don't know if you remember
Paul.
Lamont
and Paul.
But they had recorded a tape. And he was actually pretty decent. Just never went through with it.
Okay.
So the music and the stuff and as you know, Dad kept us in the music business, in the gospel music business.
Gospel quartet,
plenty of late nights on Saturday night, out and about doing what we're doing. But when we got older, we went and did our own thing. And it was a good moment for me for you to see how talented your older brother really, really is.
Yeah, it was because he showed up, played it. He asked me like, "Cass, okay, I know it's your birthday." I was like, "No, this is a moment. Play that shit," Yeah. And I was just ecstatic at how many people showed up online. We had over 20, like almost the amount of my age. I was turning 34. We had like 29 people online for this party, for this virtual party. And it was a really dope concept that Dre had pitched to me about, me as an artist. He was like, "You don't always get enough credit because you're always interviewing other artists, but you're an artist too." He was like, "Why don't you pick certain poets, the dopest that you know, and give them your poems and let them interpret it their way and spit it like, in dedication to you for your birthday. You don't perform, but we'll perform your poems. So yeah, and I had just had that car fire accident, and so we used that as like the theme, 34 and smoking, like still here, right?
Right. Shout out Angel showing up. What's happening?
Yeah.
What's happening? So the reason I say all that is because to give people background that we as Hugheses, me, you, our older brother, we literally grew up in the music business, but we grew up behind the scenes as basically roadies. You know, hey, go get that mic, set that up, go set that speaker up over there. Make sure the mic is taped down and aligned. Remember all that?
Mm-hmm. And Dad bringing me around. I was little Kiki Shepherd for Apollo and Showtime and Jackson.
Right. When they had the Showtime and Jackson, we behind the stages. I'm calling out next, whoever got next.
Right.
Go back there and say such and such is next. Da, da, da. So we grew up in the music business, right? Thanks to our father, who stayed in the music business until his last days, stayed on air. So, you know, this is nothing new for us. But I want to give the people an idea of what it was like for you when you ventured out on your own as a young adult coming into writing poems. Give us an idea of what that was like.
So I struggled, to be honest with you, because all I knew was church performances, right? So singing in the church choir, going to youth programs, and even preaching sermons for youth day. But doing sign language performances to gospel music, traveling with that. And so my poetry really hadn't shown up in the church. But outside of church was college life, right? And the college nightlife. And so there were poetry spots on campus. There was a group called Outspoken Poetry Group at JSU. There was Mad Drama, another theatrical club that you could join. And both of those really like pushed me to the forefront with my writing. And then too, even getting a full ride scholarship for my master's degree. I wrote a poem called The Soul of a Teacher is the Heart of a Student. And talked about the Black arts movement and how Sonia Sanchez and Mary Baraka, Nikki Giovanni, these notable writers who are still alive, right? And how I met them in person and was sharing the mic with them at Jackson State, like turning up. And so it just goes to show you that intentionality begets legacy, right? When you set your intentions on this is who I am, this is how I choose to show up, things will align to you because that's what you're putting out there. Like your steps are already ordered. God has already spoken that it's going to hit like this. But we oftentimes think like, oh, if I'm not in a church, I'm not going to be blessed with said opportunities because I'm not in the church. I was in the church, but even Jesus was in the streets. Hello.
Yeah.
Even Jesus was in the streets.
Radical.
And he was with the people. And so if the people are not in the church, that's where you got to go, where the people are. And so that's where I went. I was 17 years old. Never forget it. Wasn't even old enough to get in, but I went to Club 7. We know it affectionately as the graffiti building on Millsaps Avenue.
Now, hold on. I got to take you back. Because 7R Large Cafe started on Northside Drive over there by
It did.
That's why I encountered 7. When it was raw.
I found it was on Millsaps Avenue off of West Street.
That's the come up. Yeah, that's the come up. But go ahead. I just want to point that out there because
on some Kanye West. I know this is about Taylor Swift, but I just want to say.
I put in work. I'm just saying. I put in work with Ezra up there, and he know me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you know, our brother did security, so we all put in work up there.
Right, exactly. So so I'm 17 years old, and I'm going into this building, and it's got several different rooms, and I go to the room where I see all the people. You got people sitting down, people sitting up, like standing up, people sitting on the floor, like it's packed wall to wall, and there's a spotlight and no mic. But everybody's so quiet and tuned into this person spitting. And at the time, I didn't know the art of spitting, which is to speak poetically in truth. Okay.
Right.
But the dude that was doing it was Try One. So this is back when the old cats, Try One, Bamboo, Yaya, like the End
Bamboo
Poet.
stayed.
Yeah, all of the old
Asiatic
heads.
Black was there.
Yes. So all the old heads were there. And I was just like blown away. I was like, look at this dude. Like everybody hanging on to him and his last. I mean, it would have given you like the old slave time, like church, we preaching in the woods, right? But this dude is slick at the mouth, just spitting poetry left and right, words flowing, and people are receiving of it, and it's so quiet. It's like a church for the young people, for the college people. And so I aspired to be that, but I wondered, could I be that in church, and still be in church? And so my homegirl at the time, she was my classmate at Jackson State, and she was like, Kat, you can be all things. You can be all things. You can be a believer, you can be a poet, you could be an author, you could be a dancer, you could be a teacher. Like, you could be all the things, because these are all the gifts that are in you. And I don't think that God created you in such a way that he just wants you to choose one, right? Even in the Bible says, to one he gave one talent, to another he gave 5. So you just happen to have multiple gifts, but in all your gifts, let it be to the glory of God, right? And so I went, and the next time I went, I said, you know what? I'm gonna be just like that. I'm gonna memorize my stuff so that when I get up there, I'll be just like them, spitting, without reading off the paper. And so it was almost my turn to go up, and I got like nervous, real nervous. Like, also, I'm about to punk out. So I go to the MC. I was like, yo, am I next? Like, for real next? And he was like, yeah, you finna leave? I was like, nah. I said, tell you what, cut the lights off when you call me up on stage. He's like, okay, dramatic effect, like that. Whole time I'm like, nah, I cannot look at the audience and do my thing because I'm nervous, bro. It's like my first time, So I get up there and I perform, and he just called me Kat Hughes, my name, right? So I get up there and I perform, and I do Show Me How to Live, Tell Me How to Live, and Show Me How to Love. It's my signature piece. To this day, it's my signature piece. But I do that poem, and he cuts the lights on. I'm standing ovation, right? And I'm like, oh snap! Like, they love me. They really love me, right? And so he's like, "What's your name?" I was like, "Kat Hughes." He's like, "No. Like, what's your pen name, your stage name?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't have one of them." He's like, "Wait, man, we gotta get you one of those. Like, you too cold not to have one, right?" And so he asked the audience, he's like, "What should we call it, yo? What should we call it?" And somebody was like, "Sexy Red." And I was like, "Nah." Funny, because now that's actually a rapper's name. But
I do not agree with none of that stuff.
Yeah. So then somebody else was like, "Nah, call her The Voice, because she don't have to be seen. She just need to be heard." And so that's how I got that pen name, The Voice, for that performance there on Tell Me How to Live, Show Me How to Love. And that has been my signature piece. Sometimes I get it requested, but the fact that I performed it at age 17, I was already writing at that level. I had somebody come up to me after the show, and they was just like, "Girl, where were you when I was going through that?" Because wait, how sway that you can relate, and you only 17. But yeah.
Our brother says, music magazine photo I took got published. We've all been on WOAD in Jackson with our father. That is correct. We spent listen, when I say the Hughes family, as far as the Jackson, Mississippi / California Hugheses have been growing up in the music business, that's exactly what we've done. Our dad has kept us on the road, late night, school the next Monday,
Like the way families plan trips, it was planned for us to go to the Gospel Quartet convention every year. Like, we're going to be out of school this whole week.
The whole week. Yeah, we out.
Yeah. And then too, like, even meeting Mr. and Miss Malico, like the owners of Malico Records.
Yeah, the owners of Malico Records, we became really good friends with a lot of good people.
Yeah, Miss Wooten, yes, ma'am. And then ended up singing with Benjamin Cone III and Worship Choir. And so we ended up recording inside of Malico Records, like, and already knowing, I have sung behind the Christianaires, the Gospel 4, Paul Porter, I've sung behind Melvin Williams.
Melvin Williams is a bad dude. Paul Porter's bad too, though.
Yeah, and so to meet these people is one thing, right? Like Legends of the Round Table, to meet them, but to sing behind them because you were part of the choir, or the fact that like before Mary was even hitting, like talking about, Dad had already interviewed them.
Yeah, we had talked. They were supposed to actually come by the house.
Exactly.
And come have dinner with us because they were staying at a hotel.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Folks would be so proud of this moment. And I'm pretty sure he's right. We said that earlier. Mom and Dad definitely be proud of this moment. Angel says the moment was crazy. Taylor Kanye, LOL.
Yeah.
Mont says HBI has done security for 7 on the cool. Yeah, we did our thing. I did security for 7 when they were down there on Millsaps Ave. So I've done security for 7, and I've rapped and spit in 7 plenty of times.
I was about to say, the rap battles at 7, and just to bring
rap battles
circle,
at 7.
Ezra is back in Jackson. He now owns the business Soleil. And so me performing at the Homegrown Fest in Utica, Divine Alignment again, ran into him. He had his truck Soleil, and he was like, the boys, I said, Ezra, bro, what's good? I've been meaning to come by the shop, like you right across from PJ's where I work at. He was like, no kidding. He was like, man, it's good to see you, fam. It's good to see you. I was like, yeah. I was like, so when you gonna start our 7 again, like literally, at your shop? It's a whole vibe. It's a coffee shop now. That could totally be a thing. And he was like, man, I don't know. He's like, but I got some things to work. So I said, well, why don't you let me interview you on the show? So he will be our next featured guest on Artistry's Heard interviews. So just
That's
to
great.
see, right? It's been years, man. I was young as heck.
Listen, I knew Ezra before he had gray hair. When them dreads was just starting to lock up. Veronica Allen, shout out Veronica Allen, all the way in Alabama. I think she's in Cuzzo said, what's happening? Big Cuz, she doing big things. She ready to come to Texas. I know she is.
Yeah.
Big Bro said, because of our dad, we knew Trinity 357 before they were hot. That is true.
Yes, we did.
That is true. I knew Gibbs. Chain Hang Low. Remember that song? Do your chain hang low? Me and him connected a couple times.
Yeah.
Way before, he was hot. So
I was almost the girlfriend to Willie Neal Johnson's grandson.
Yeah. If you don't know who Willie Neal Johnson is, you better ask your grandma, your grandpa if they're still alive.
The Gospel Keynotes. Come on now.
This legendary Gospel Keynotes lead singer.
Heaven, y'all, we gonna really sing.
We grew up in a privileged, but not privileged. I say privileged because we were privileged to meet legends, take pictures with legends.
You didn't know they were legends because we were just kids.
Right, but we saw them on the VHS because we didn't have CDs back then, and we took pictures with these people. And our father kept us working. We weren't there just, having fun. We were there working.
Right.
So tell me now, what's the end goal, or what's the next step? I know you got Ezra coming up. I know you got a couple other good people coming up. Look,
we got the pop-up shop.
A big brother said we knew E40 on Vallejo when he was in high school. That's right. E40. Yes. Actually, our brother did bodyguard work for E40 and D-Shot in the Click. He did bodyguard work for Rikishi, which is The Rock's cousin.
Yep, he told me about that.
Right. Took pictures with him and everything. We have had kind of a really good upbringing and childhood, but it was work. We didn't think. We look back now as like, damn, we were lucky, but back then it was work.
It was a lot of work. As long as we was going to Taco Bell after, I was with it. But I needed the guarantee that we're going to Taco Bell, chicken and cheese somewhere.
Had to have that bean burrito.
Yeah.
But tell me what's next for Artie Streets. And as a matter of fact, I'd like to bring in is Dre there?
Yeah, he's here. Yeah. So what's next for Artie Streets? We have a pop-up shop that's happening next Saturday. Beyond Heard interviews, we do events. We had our first Lupus Walk 2 years ago at PJ's Coffee, and it was a great turnout for Fondren. This year coming up, it's going to be paint Fondren purple. But we have pop-up shops that we do too. And this week coming up, it is the teacher edition. Everybody's always doing something for the kids, back to school, school supplies drive and all that. And that's great. But being a teacher, this one's for the teacher. So it's like a teacher kickback kind of vibe. They got one assignment, which is to eat, drink, and shop. And we have the vendors actually catering to the teachers by creating bundle deals. We also have this one vendor, Farrah Evans, who has her brand Dawn Forever. She makes jewelry, but she also does custom tees and tote bags. And she has created a series of school spirited things. So if you go to JPS school district, if you serve in Yazoo school district, if you work in Clinton school district, she got like the school brand logo, the school mascot on the jewelry, on the tote bags, on the t-shirt. We also have Miss Mary, who is a clothing vendor. And she's got very nice, comfortable, breathable clothing for teachers to select, because we all know trying to get our outfits for the week that's teacher appropriate to wear, but still stylish, it's sometimes a struggle. And so she's got a bundle on a buy two, get one free. We also have Southern Honey, which is body butter and lotion made out of honey, real honey. Yeah. And so she's coming up with bundles, because self-care is the best care, and that's the only way you're gonna make it through the school year. Okay,
right.
You got to make sure that you together. And so we just created this to have it in mind with the teachers, because nobody's really catering to them. So aside from school supplies, we have school supplies for the teachers. Like, we asked on Facebook, what are some things that you need? Of course, I was able to, attribute to that because I am a teacher, but we talking about like the big items you can't swipe for.
Right.
We got some sponsors, some donations, and we are blessed to be able to give it to them. And so they can go into the school year feeling more equipped and prepared. Because a lot of times, to be honest with you, we come out of pocket. That EFF card the teachers get, it does have some limitations on it, just a little bit. You can only swipe for certain things. You can only swipe for a certain amount. Excuse me. And a lot of times too, it depends on your status as a teacher. You may not get a teacher card. If it's your first year, if you're not certified, if you're a teacher, student teacher, right, you won't get an EFF card. And so a lot of times that means you're coming out of pocket, or, your friends, your family donating to you, unless you have a teacher wish list on Amazon or a GoFundMe for your classroom, things like that. So Dre and I was just like, you know what? We need a pop-up shop, or we need an event that's strictly for the teachers to get them, what they need. So I will be there as well every more occasions. So I'm more than just an artist, y'all. I'll be making things. I'll be decorating and doing stuff. Ask both my bros. I did both of their weddings. They know.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah. So I am a beast when it comes to door decor and classroom themes. So last year my theme was basketball, and so I wanted students to meet the goal. Goals stood for whatever they had as a goal, not what is projected on them. So if they want to be more focused this year, if they want to have better grades this year, if they want to be more disciplined this year, if they want to actually do their homework and turn it in this year, right? Small goals. Right? Like, I did my homework. I did. Did you put your name on it though, sir? Oh, okay then. Right. Did you turn it in? I still my homework folder. I'm glad you got a folder. You well organized. That's great.
Right.
Turn it in. Turn it in.
Right.
Yeah. So we have that next Saturday. We just did a Heard interview with Flower Child, who's an artist. She is an alternative R&B artist, and so her music, the vibes are giving you like Shaka Khan beats, right? But with the neo soul lyrics, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah, so like Shaka Khan and Lauryn Hill fused together. Yeah. And so it was really great to sit down with her, and two, just to be on the scene. Like, a lot of the people that we've interviewed are so much further along now than from the time we interviewed them. Like, young Jules, bro.
I knew her for a moment. Another good artist. I know I didn't mention her, but it wasn't because she's not talented.
Yeah.
I just have my favorites, but definitely she makes solid music. She got a chance to open up for not Slick Rick. What's my Dougie Fresh, I think.
Yeah. So she's so well put together, like in real life as a person. And so when she got that gig and her music was being played on air and she was featured for Kamikaze's, indie music week fest, I mean, she is really just blown up, and it's from the support of us people here in Jackson putting their own people on. So when people be like, Jackson ain't got no talent, Mississippi is the home of music. Like everybody else getting their vibes and styles from us. Let's be clear.
If you don't know Silas, if you don't know Tricky LT45, Elite the Omen, Cage, Chaos the Cage, Booney the Boss, Jules, Dollar Black.
Dollar Black, yeah.
Dollar Black, man. Dollar Black was featured on EA Sports. Come on, man. I mean, these guys are Mississippi's full, especially Jackson. Matter of fact, a lot of people don't know Big Crit is from Mississippi. So
yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He's from Meridian. So it's full of talent. It's full of, and I you guys are highlighting it in such a beautiful way with these interviews and stuff like that. So we're gonna give the people a jewel before we go. I gotta have my favorite. But what I'm gonna do in return, I'm gonna give you a new verse if you give me my favorite.
Okay.
All right. And you gotta tell them what it is, though. You gotta tell them what it is.
Dre, you gotta be ready to come on and say hello to the people at least one time before.
You be a camera shy, but that's okay.
Yeah. So this poem is called "Broken Records Still Spin." It too is also published, but I wrote this one for a church event. So bring it back around full circle when how I was struggling in the beginning about could I do this and still be in a church, and here it was a church event. This was called Healing Hearts. And it was just a time for people to come together and get a word that wasn't the traditional sermon. And so it was the idea, we'll let the poets give the word. And so the person who was spearheading it reached out to different poets, and I was one of them. And I wrote this literally 30 minutes before the show. 30 minutes before the show. And I just had a busy week, man. And I was really going to just back out of it, like, get somebody else to do it because I didn't want to, half step. But sitting there in front of the laundromat, and there was a kid in the laundromat who was coloring with broken crayons. And I remember the saying that says broken crayons still color. And I got the idea that broken records still spin. Hi, Angel. Hi.
I try not to show her. She being mischievous.
Yeah, we see you, girl. We see you. Yeah. Broken records still spin. And so it's just like, understanding that like music is a beautiful thing, and there's so many genres to it, but there is a method to the madness, if you will, when it comes to music that's been chopped and screwed or slowed down, or and the fact that is our speed, that people actually want music like that or remixes like that is pretty dope. So I took that concept and put it to like my life, because I tend to write from experiences. And there were moments in my life where I felt broken. There were moments in my life where I felt slowed down because of the things that were changing out of my control and just constantly having to adapt and adjust. But broken records still spin. It may sound different, but it's still turning. So
right.
Broke records still spin. Broken records still spin. Broke records still spin. Broken records still spin. I'm in tune with the Most High. So I learned to rewrite the lyrics to my soul's cry. Remembering that my song is one of a kind, I found rest between the lines. No longer ashamed for the way that they played me, not even their judgments or the way they tried to rearrange me. See, I'm a whole mood. Wise enough to know better than to argue with fools. My inner peace is God-given. exchanging tears for laughter, healing from the depths of brokenness now that I've been remastered. Broken records still spin, broken records still broke records still spin, broken records still spin. Understand the story within this melody. I need you to hear the pain and know the truth, that within every struggle there was healing too. For every track, I sung as though my integrity was still intact. Knowing that my friends and family may not have my back and could sell me out, I used it for clout. Gave rhyme to reason by canvassing my hurt so that when you play me on the flip side, it still sounds like joy in reverse. Broken records still spin. Broken records still broke records still spin. Broken records still spin. Keep spinning, love.
There it is. There it is. Sister got bars. Sister got bars. I got bars too. I got bars too. I wrote something to a Rick Ross beat called Buried in These Streets. And I'm going to see if I can remember most of it. But what I was doing at the time, I was going through a divorce, and I just read a fortune cookie, and it had a you know how fortune cookies do. And so I was like, what if I made a song with just a bunch of sayings in that song? And so this is what I came up with. Fortune cookies. This is what I came up with.
Okay.
You better learn from your mistakes so you're bound to repeat them. A real boss makes sure his family and people is eating. Always take your time. Never try and rush success. You get out what you put in. Steady with progress. Accept the phase because it comes with the territory. Better choices in your life tell a better story. Continue learning even when you think you know it all. Friends come and go. Learn to keep your circle small. Be money motivated, but don't be consumed, because that same motivation will cause you doom. Stay quiet. Never telegraph your moves. Always be humble. Give credit whenever credit's due. Learn to be a blessing instead of a burden. Be yourself because people like the original version.
Yeah.
This is a bunch of fortune cookies I put together.
Fortune cookies.
Fortune cookie rap. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, this has been amazing. Tell them where they can see you and reach you at on all your social media platforms.
Yes, so you can follow me, Kat Hughes. It's Katurah Hughes on Facebook. On Instagram is The Voice PQ. And on Facebook too, you can find Artistries. Is it Artistries heard or just Artistries on Facebook? Yeah, just Artistries on Facebook.
Got so many. I'm totally getting the camera.
Right. We also have Artistries on Instagram, and now we have Artistries heard interviews on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
YouTube channel is definitely going in. Look, artistic family is an understatement. That's what it is.
Because so fun fact, like when I was teaching one time, there was a parent who came in, and they were coming down the hall, and so I was the check-in person, and so I was like, who are you here to see? And they said, "Ooh, I know you. I seen you." And I was like, "Sir, calm down. What?" I see you. He's like, hold on. I got a picture. I was like, oh my God, I hope you don't have a picture, right? And so I was like, what's your child's name? What's your child's name? Because in a minute, it's not even gonna matter, right? If I don't even teach your child. So yeah, he told me the child's name, and I happened to be the teacher, and I was like, well, I'm in child. Say, oh, that's so dope. Like, wow, he's learning from you. And so I said, sir, he's like, give me a line, just a line. See, he's like, I see you. This you, right? This you on the stage? I was like, yeah. And so I was like, sir, I really just need you to, talk about your child's learning and what the expectations are, what you looking for. In fact, this is the picture. That's the picture he saw.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So thankfully it was a decent one, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was like, man, I'm so when's your next show? I'm like, sir, we're here to talk about your son. Like, in 4th grade.
We are in school, sir. I don't need you.
Yeah. He was like, man, I feel so blessed that you're his teacher. Like, this is amazing. He's like, is there anything I need to focus on? Anything, let me know so he can be the best because he learned from you. I don't want him to disappoint you. I said, disappoint me? Like, you the parent. They need to be disappointing you, As soon as he left, my coworker was like, girl, what was that about? I said, oh my God. Listen.
Yeah. Focus on this. Don't focus over there.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Like, well, I can't believe you his teacher. I was like, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, it's been a blast. You have done such an amazing job. Shout out to everybody that's tuned in for this special moment and special occasion. Y'all give The Voice a round of applause in the chat. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to not only my YouTube channel, but her YouTube channel as well, Artie Street's YouTube channel. Yeah. Check them out because they got more interviews coming up.
Yeah, and all the ones we've done since 2020 are loaded there too. So if you just now tuning in and becoming a fan, you can catch up on all the great people. A lot of their material, like their published books or CDs or music, whatever, we have. And so if you are interested, we can definitely connect and send it to you in the mail. Feel free to follow them on their platforms on Facebook and Artist Streets and all that. But we are here for you, like the artists. We are here for you. This platform, there's enough room for everybody. And we just want to highlight your efforts and everything you got going because it takes a lot. It's a lot to be an artist, to own your craft, right? To own your talent. It's not easy to trust yourself with that process. And people can be critical sometimes, but if it's in you to do it, you ain't gonna be able to run from it. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to put something out. You're gonna have to make time to get in the studio. You're gonna have to do it. So if we can help you in any way, let us know. Also, shout out to any Black business owners because we love Black business, Black vendors, and we look for sponsors for the show. We put your products on display. So if you got some merch for us, let us know. Put us on.
That's what it is. You got fans already. April says, love you, sis.
Yes.
So talented.
Yes.
Big bro said, that's what's up. High five. Sierra says, clap, clap. Hey, clap it up for the sis.
Yes, thank y'all so much. Thank you for having me, bro.
Look, Angel said, all purple hearts for the Purple Queen.
Yes, I'm the Purple Queen. You know it.
That's what it is. Listen, thank you guys for tuning in. Sis, thank you for tuning in and showing up.
Yes.
Shout out to Artie Streets. And you know what? It's time for me to eat. I'm hungry.
It's been a great show, bro. Like, cheers to you and this platform you and your wife have started. It's really dope. I'm excited about the couples project y'all doing. Yes, lust, love, and liberation. Indeed. Yes.
That's one of the many projects we have coming up. Right now, we're focusing on LOL, Love Out Loud. Mm-hmm. That's actually going to be a shocker project. So we're actually probably going to start that next month.
Really? Hey, Angel.
Okay. See, pit bulls love attention. But shout out to my beautiful wife, April.
We should put Angel on the show. Like, have a dog talk.
Put her headphones on and everything.
Yeah.
But today was a great show. Another momentous moment. Our parents will be proud. And we did our thing. You did your thing. Shout out to Dre again and Artie Streets and everybody on that team. And we are out of here.
Yeah. Peace. Love y'all.
Love y'all. Y'all be safe.
I place the order, they get the dough. They make the hit, I send the dough. I can get you murk for the low. I can get you murk for the low. I place the order, they get the dough. They make the hit, I send the dough. I can get you murk for the low. I can get you murk for the low. You say we got beef, and that's a problem, right? I'll get you did it quick on a Harlem night. But no Sugar Ray, ain't nothing sweet like Mike Miller and James Jones. We dumping heat. I talking cold, so peeping it is unlikely. I'm Brad Pitt and Snatch, don't cross a fight. Slash brick